I think I'm all set. Should be good. Okay. I'm just hearing all the scenarios. That's not till, it's not till December. Yes, this is correct. Yes. Good one though.
Okay.
Yes. This one is peacocks. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Do it. Then maybe I'll sit here.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get there.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Somebody has to tell me when I'm up. Good morning.
Yeah.
Okay, we're here.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Everybody ready to go?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Call this to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Maxwell,
Present.
Commissioner Wessel,
Here.
Commissioner Lautner. Present, all present.
We're gonna do the pledge at the committee as a whole, so we'll waive that for now. For to approval of agenda, any late additions, any comments on the agenda?
Move to approve it as presented.
Or all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We have an agenda. At this point, we have our first public comment. We allow 3 minutes at this point to discuss anything that you'd like to do. So if there's anyone out there who'd like to make comment, please raise your hand. Okay, there being none, thank you for attending. Commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments after this? Being none, we'll move on to the action items. That is now the time to discuss the minute thing, or you want to do that as a?
Yeah, you can just go ahead and do the motion to approve if you like.
Okay, all right. Do you want to, do I have anyone ready to make a motion on the minutes?
I would move for their approval as presented.
Support. Discussion being, all those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. We have minutes approved. Interim finance plan. I would like to pass out something for discussion at this time, if that's okay. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So this format is fairly informal, but I will read what I passed out for public comment. And this is just one commissioner's ideas, but it's hopefully a framework to move forward that would be considered. And we're here to discuss options and figure out how we move forward. I think if you're okay with this, I'll just read this aloud.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've divided this into two courses of an action: an intermediate plan and a long-term plan. So I'll start with the intermediate plan, and of course this depends on some buy-in from some people, but number one would name Captain Huddersfield as interim finance director, reporting directly to the Board of Commissioners. The intent is not to create a CFO position. This is a short-term arrangement until the long-term arrangement is implemented. Number two, advertise the position of deputy finance director. Number three, advertise the position of a finance clerk. This was anticipated when we added to the contingency 2024 budget. Number four, clarify that the administrator does not have responsibility for finances during this interim plan. Future responsibility determined as part of the long-term plan. Timeline, implement as soon as possible. Duration until long-term plan is implemented with a goal of no later than 6/30/24. Long-term plan, begin a collaborative effort to move forward with the finance department. Seek expert advice from inside our organization and from outside experts as to best practices and organizational structures for a successful finance department. Three, take the time required to listen and learn. Form a plan that can succeed and can be implemented in a measured, thoughtful, and cooperative manner. Getting it right is more important than getting it quick. Four, the plan must be clear and concise and include buy-in from all board members and stakeholders. It must have identifiable goals and timelines. Number five, no plan will completely satisfy everyone. Compromise and commitment to the bigger picture will be essential. Number six, once the plan is adopted, all parties must work together to ensure success. The board must pass required resolutions so as to remove all confusion about roles and responsibilities. Timeline, immediate start plan formation with a goal of adopting the plan within 30 to 60 days. Implementation no later than June 30th. Just one commissioner's ideas. I spent a lot of time thinking and talking to people as a way to do this. So I'll open everything up for comment after that. So.
Matt? Well, there is a whole lot of this that, I agree with and I like. I like the timeline. I agree it should be as soon as possible. I like that everyone should be working together. I think it's high time we get identifiable timelines. And I agree, it's more important to get it right. We've had 2 strikes already and I really don't want to strike out when it comes to this. So I agree with that. I guess I think this hinges on whether Kathy's willing to take the interim finance director position, and I hope that she is. And the second question would be then, what about to take interim? Past practice has been to raise the salary up to that position, even as they're interim, even if they're interim. So I don't know what those pay levels are, but I would think that this would be a part of it. We should raise that up to where we had our finance director, I believe. Maybe hands up.
Yeah.
So just for clarification on that, that's a good point. When Ms. Harsfeld was the interim finance director previously, she was at a rate that was in the realm of what the current finance director position is stated as. And when she moved into, and I'm sorry, Kathy, it seems odd to be talking, so when she moved into
We're not talking like you're not here.
Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to be respectful.
Yeah, it's
So,
okay,
sorry.
it's the body and the position.
Thank you. And so when she moved into the position of interim finance director, one of the commitments that I had made to Kathy is that I would come before the board and ask that we maintain her at the level that she was as the interim finance director. So her position has never, the rate of pay has never decreased from where she was as an interim finance director. So to Commissioner Lautner's point, any adjustments in that would certainly be at the board's discretion, but that's where we are right now.
So since then, though, we've had a finance director that, was that rate higher than
The
range?
range of the salary within the steps, if you will. So where the interim finance director is currently is at a position higher than what, how can I say this, is currently being paid at a level that is a finance director step level, not the same as what was approved as interim finance in terms of those steps. So that position is currently being paid at a lower step, but within the range of what the finance director.
So we have that
level is.
range. So where was our past finance director in that range?
The past finance director with the CPA, MBA was at the highest of that step, hired at the highest level. And I think the current is at, would be, the interim finance director is currently at like maybe step 2 out of the step range.
Well, we don't, I mean, we have to have a further discussion if the idea of the plan is done. And,
Oh, okay.
And I mean,
Well,
I don't think we're actually able to act on that.
I guess the reason I'm asking
This
that.
is news to Kathy, so,
So that's why I asked the question. I think there's gonna be a couple things that hinge on. So number one, I guess that would be my first question, and I with just seeing this for the first time, I can't see anything that I would change it on. Maybe the only thing I would add is that would be to enter negotiations for the position
And, you know, we're here to make recommendations really, so, I think we're just trying to formulate a recommendation, so if that, you know, if we're in a position to make a recommendation, this recommendation goes to, the executive committee, following our, you know, my understanding of our subcommittee structure is we're supposed to, make recommendations, get them to the executive committee so that they can have time, committee meetings to digest and work on it, so I would suggest we go from there, and in the meantime, if that's if the executive committee actually says, okay, I think this is worth moving on, probably before the regular committee, we would talk to Sartersville and see if this, what arrangement can be made, and then present that at the regular meeting, and maybe have a path. Does that make sense as a sequence?
That makes sense to me.
Well, thanks, Doug. I like this, and I like it for a number of reasons. Most importantly, I think it involves all the staff that we currently have in planning for the future. And I think that's where we failed the last time. And this has clear timeline. It commits us to a decision that the board made in 2021 and reaffirmed in 2022. But now we have a chance to do it correctly. And I like that. I'm anxious to hear what our auditor has to say, but I certainly, I support it, and I hope we can take it to the executive committee.
And I just have one final comment, and I wanna, I have always been very clear on this when it comes to our employees and hiring. And I've always insisted that if we have a position and we ask for qualifications, that it might be an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree and or certain years of experience. That to me evens a playing field 100%. So that's how I've said that numerous times in the past. That's always been my position, and that's still my position. Because we had, you know, for all the past qualifications, couldn't do the job.
And I guess I kind of forgot about Mr. Peacock, which I apologize, to respect his time. Would
I
you-
just have a copy.
Oh, sure.
Now,
Yeah, that,
yes.
so, we asked Mr. Peacock to attend here to just give us some advice on best structures and practices on the creation of a finance department. So thank you for attending, and I am sorry for derailing things for a bit, so.
Not at all, no problem.
I didn't
Well,
see you standing there, Steve.
What's that?
I didn't see you standing there.
That's all right. I was listening along, and I'm thrilled to hear what the proposed solution is, for sure. I think as part of that, one of the things that is really incumbent upon any governmental unit is to make sure that where there's any statutory requirements to be in any specific office, that those are very clearly understood. So you don't want to take a process away from an office and put it in another office that is required to be statutorily maintained by the former office. So that research with respect to that, and I would lean on counsel for that, is important. So we know who has to do what legally, and then once we know that, then when you have the interim finance director working through the process through, I think you said June 30th, I think is what you said. I think that is going to be very helpful. It's the person that you're looking for. I'm just going to be honest here, is going to be hard to find. We have found in our practice world, several of our governmental unit clients that go through retirements, terminations, changes in employees, so forth. Finding the accounting talent that you're looking for is it's going to be difficult. So there needs to be a provisional plan in there that if you run into some kind of a roadblock with respect to hiring that individual, the plan may need to have a little bit more of an extension on it until you can identify the right candidate. our firm has a group, what we call Accounting Solutions, and that's the group that helps a lot of our clients, specifically governmental, in doing CFO services, if you will. And that group has absolutely exploded in the last 5 to 10 years, because as people are retiring, getting the replacement accounting talent is just hard, and they're relying on CPA firms to be able to fill that role. Sometimes it's permanent, sometimes it's temporary. And I just want to paint the real picture that, you know, these people they're difficult to find. They're not impossible, but they're difficult to find. The MICPA has a program out right now where they show how many people in Michigan became a newly licensed CPA in 2022. And there were 500 and change that were licensed, but only 300 of them stayed in the state of Michigan. The difference is folks that have left the country to go take their degrees and work in other countries. But if you think about that, there's 300 and some odd new CPAs in the state of Michigan, and the state of Michigan is going to retire 1,500, 3,000 CPAs each year. So the spread is getting worse in terms of being able to get good accounting talent, trained and experienced in, specifically your case, governmental accounting. So I don't want to paint doom and gloom, but I want you guys to be realistically, you may not get this person in 6 months. You may get this person in 9 months. You may get this person in a year. So that doesn't mean you slow down progress. Now, when you talk about best practices, the finance director, CFO, whatever this position is going to be titled, needs to own the general ledger 100%. So that individual doesn't need to post all the transactions, but that individual needs to know exactly what each entry that has gone into the books, because when we as auditors step on property and we pick that transaction to be reviewed, that individual is going to be required to have the skills, knowledge, and experience of knowing what that is. So when you look for this person is going to have to be a person that spends some time in debits and credits and has also the ability to transition into not significant, but complete financial reporting to you, the board, so that when they do the day-to-day operations of posting payroll, posting accounts payable, receiving money, and all of the ins and outs that go into your general ledger, that person is also going to need to be able to have the skills when that's all done at the end of the month, before they come and see you at the board. Okay, I know the general ledger is sound. We've got good reporting here. Here's the financial statements, Mr. and Mrs. Commissioners. These are good and accurate financial statements. So there are people out there that do have this skill set. I'm certain that we will be able to find one, or that you will be able to find one. But the first thing that we need to do is delineate who has what responsibility, what will be moved into the finance office. And the first and foremost, in my opinion, is they own the general ledger. And there is nothing unclear about that to your candidate. They own the general ledger. Number 3, I would start advertising this position now and seeing what kind of interest you get locally or nationally. And number 4, what would be really, really, really helpful, and I don't know if we can get this unicorn or not, but an individual that might be a candidate for this position, if they have experience with IT transformation, certainly if you choose to go BSNA or if you go some other route, whatever software package that you're going to eventually get to, if that individual has some experience both working with the program and during an installation. So where I have seen success in this area, and I'm just going to pick on BSNA because that's the one we've talked about a couple of times. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not saying it's a bad product or a good product. Let's just use that product to talk with. When you choose to go that route, you're going to have a consultant that's going to help you with implementation. And a lot of times those consultants have done installations in several counties, cities, townships across the country. That company may have a list of people that might have interest in coming to Leelanau County and being the finance person. So that inventory of people that they use for consultants is a great pool of people to connect with. They may have the skills to come in and do this type of work. My last recommendation is to do this thing. I agree with you 100%. Commissioner Rex wrote, it needs to be done right, not quickly. And once that person is involved, once a new person is hired, and Kathy as well, need full support from the board. It needs to be a collaborative effort. And I think this transformation into the full-fledged finance department is going to be a year-long or more transition, not including a software implementation, because that'll make it longer.
Yeah, thank you for your comments, and I guess, from this one commissioner's viewpoint, getting this up and running is a whole different thing from actually starting to implement some of the software things. This has to be almost 2 bites of the apple. It's impossible for someone to decide what needs to be changed when they don't know what they're doing to begin with. So that's just my look at this transition. You set different timelines. One, just to get the person in place, to get the systems in place that are existing, and get knowing what's going on, and then and I wholeheartedly embrace the recommendations and reading the report. It's just you can only do so many things at one time and do them effectively. So I don't view that, in my position anyway. I still see 100% in my 100% support of the finance department, and 100% support in this guy's viewpoint for the implementation of those recommendations. It's just doing it with timelines and goals that seem realistic and achievable, setting ourselves up for failure.
And your friends at Raymond are 100% in support of that, and we will do whatever we can to help you use us as a tool in the toolbox. And we're happy to help. We've got a lot of knowledge of the county. There's probably 25 people in this firm that know the intricacies of Leelanau County in and out. So we are here to help and will not be a hindrance to it. We've had many clients go through software changes. We've had many clients go through retirements and personnel changes. It's all just a part of the daily activity we do here.
I suspect as the board as a whole digests this, there'll be further times that we'll be asking for your input and guidance. So I appreciate you being here today. Does anyone have any further questions for Mr. Peacock?
Thank you, Mr. Peacock.
You're welcome, everybody. I'll stay on. I'll stay on if you're going to continue in case you have a question later.
Thank you.
Sure.
Please.
I would recommend that we take this plan to the executive committee next Tuesday for further discussion and consultation.
Mr. Lohner.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor of moving this forward, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. So this will go to the executive committee as a recommendation. One of the things I want to emphasize from this perspective is collaboration involving all stakeholders, working together, all input, all sides, give and take, commitment to the end goal. This is going to be what's required to get this done. And I think it's there. So. I don't have any further business to discuss unless other commissioners do.
I do have one question for our discussion.
Next meeting date, sorry.
But I have a question about in this plan, if we do approve it and implement it as a board of commissioners, I believe there's a role for the finance committee, regular basis to work with the interim finance director as we move forward. And I think we can sort that out, but I think we need to be very involved in meeting regularly to make that work.
I suspect we'll be busy. And I agree. We should make sure, everyone knows those dates, so we're interested, can of course attend as well, but I think before we get to comment, we just want to talk about next meeting dates right now. So
But you asked other business, and I was a little bit negligent in bringing up one thing I did want to bring up, but another thing I think we have Steve on the line, and I was just double checking the executive, I glanced at our executive agenda. We have an outstanding bill with Raymond. Yeah.
I don't know if it's this committee's purview to discuss that or not.
Can we make a recommendation to, just pay that bill?
I don't know that I haven't, I didn't come prepared to discuss that, I guess. So,
Okay,
Would-
well, we can add it to the
would I-
executive.
Would you be comfortable with me contacting, I'll work with Deb and I'll contact Mr. Peacock and have that issue also on the agenda Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday's fine. Yep, I
Okay,
just
that'd be
wanted
great.
to
Thank
clean
you.
that up. Okay. And the only other thing, and this is financial, because I guess it's our budget, and it was brought to my attention, and I wish we had all the information when we set our budget up. And I thought that it was said very well from the audience earlier today, that when we look at our employees here, it's the body and the position. And not, it's not the person. And this has nothing to do with a person. This has to do with our budget and doing what is best for our taxpayers with our ever-growing budget in Leelanau County. So what we did is we raised up the salary position of the executive assistant. We raised it by 9,000, just under 9,000 or just over $9,000. Okay, well, now that person is going to retire, but what we were not made aware of is the person that's leading's start date was early in the year. So if we leave that salary at that high level, that person won't even be in the building and will get, I don't know what it is, $500 or $700 a month more after retirement, just because they'll be taking personal days and vacation days. And all personalities aside, this has nothing to do with that. I think that's just really poor policy for Leelanau County to do. We'll be bringing in a new person that will be starting at the lower level of that scale anyway. So I think we ought to pull back that $9,000 increase for the executive position, and that could easily be rectified in a budget amendment Q2 of 2024.
Okay, I guess my thoughts on that is that.
So it's something to think about.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this thought.
It's
like
not a
made it-
motion right now, I just think
Okay,
we
so
haven't
committee of the
discussed
whole, I think that should be
it
brought up
is
to
a
the whole
financial,
board.
but this isn't budget, so I understand that.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, okay, so, anything further than Commissioner Lautner?
No, I don't think so.
Can we look at setting our next meeting date, and depending on, I don't want to set a series of them until we hear from the executive committee's thoughts on this process moving forward, but I think we should set a next one, and then after the executive committee decides on structures and we rule some things out, then we can set up a regular meeting schedule if that's acceptable.
I did not bring my planner, so we can tentatively set a date. If I look at a calendar, I think we can get somewhere.
It certainly doesn't make sense to do it until after the executive committee meeting, which is just Tuesday, so.
Don't make it the 15th.
And then you have, opening day of deer season, and
Gotta go.
Thanksgiving, so realistically, although time is of the essence, unfortunately, if we don't do it, before Thanksgiving, it have to, wait till, out of town for a few days there.
So we are on the 9th. You want to do it after the 14th, but not the 15th. So we have like
There's really,
16, the 2 more days in that week. The next week, you're out of town
Well-
all of Thanksgiving week or no?
I leave the Friday after Thanksgiving,
21st is for
I leave the Friday after Thanksgiving, and I don't
Are you
get back.
going on another vacation?
I am, yes, I am. I should save those for public comment.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So you're gone that week.
Yeah,
So do you want to look into the week after Thanksgiving? Is that what you think?
yeah, it'd be late in that week, like, probably Friday. I gotta look back here and see when I come.
Okay, well, I think I'm available. I don't,
Let's, can we tentatively put it Friday? I don't have, for some reason, that's.
Friday, I'm sorry, which date?
that's
It'd be
December first. Do you want to go that Friday that week, December first?
Yeah, I'm back in town that December first
Okay.
Friday.
Okay.
We do have the board regular meeting on the 21st. Oh, that's,
He's gone though. He just said he's gone.
No, he's not, that he's gone. Are you looking though, because whatever comes out of executive gets recommended and then approved at regular session, so you wouldn't be having a meeting until after it's approved on the
It's
21st.
probably
Yeah.
best to wait after that. and
The
then you're-
clerk and I are at conference on Friday, so we're short-staffed. I don't know if Monday works better.
So instead of the first, it'd be what, the second, third, fourth?
Whatever
December
Monday
4th.
is. Michelle and I are at Train the Trainer.
I think the 4th is okay for me.
So the fourth,
Works for me.
any
so that's
time,
Friday, December
It'd be
4th.
it'd
Monday,
be Monday the fourth,
December 4th, what time?
any, what's that?
6:30.
6:30 a.m. In the
I-
morning,
I'm good
okay,
anytime, I think that day.
9 or
so-
9:30,
Sure.
9:30?
9:30?
9:30?
9:30,
Okay.
Okay.
I have Monday, December 4th for the next finance committee at 9:30 a.m.
Now we're to public comment, and I saw the treasurer with his hand up, wishing to speak, so. Any other public comment? Commissioner Eldar?
I appreciate,
I don't think the public's going to pick up your voice when
Yeah,
it's
if you don't
talked
come up.
anyway.
Yeah.
to the,
Yeah. Thank you for that, Commissioner Eldar.
I agree that I am glad you've come up with a plan where we walk carefully and evaluate very carefully and talk very carefully before we make more big changes. I sure appreciate, I want to thank Kathy Hartsfeld for coming out of retirement to help her county. And I think she's being an exemplary citizen and serving all of us. And I appreciate and thank you for your service. So good job. Let's do it.
Any further public comment? Being none, I'd look for motion to adjourn.
So moved.